Hi, it's Lynn from LynnieCDesigns. Thank you for joining me today. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in West Sussex in the UK, and I'm coming on today to share cards that I made for the latest Global Design Project Colour Challenge, and it uses 3 of the new in colours: Pale Papaya, Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen. I'm using Simply Succulents stamp set, and I'm going to use dies from the Potted Succulent dies. Now they come together as a bundle at the moment, and there'll be links below to my blog. So the reason I got these dies is for this gorgeous die, and this is the main one that I'm using. I'm going to use this with a bit of Whisper White cardstock to create a stencil, and then using some blending brushes I'm going to apply some ink to create the background for this card. So I'm going to show you, but you also get left with the stencil, and that's what I've used on this second card. I will create something with the stencil and share it on my Instagram account, but I'm just going to show you how to make this card. This is a version of this card, slightly change it up. So for this card I am using, for my original card, the base is Pale Papaya, and then I've got the Evening Evergreen as the background and the ribbon. I've used Evening Evergreen ink to stamp on some soft succulent, and I've stamped 3 of the cactus images from the stamp set, and I've layered them up to create this little flower with a little topper on there. So I'm just going to change the colours up. I've got, this time the base is going to be soft succulent, the frame is going to be the Pale Papaya, and then I've got a bit of Whisper White which I'm going to create my stencil from, and it's just cut about the same size as this die. Now I'm going to go and die cut this, and I will be back. I'm going to bring this in, and I've got my take a pick tool. Wrong end. Pay attention, Lynn. Unscrew that and screw that in. And that falls out of there really easily, and I just use this to push out all of the little bits and pieces, and they just pop out. I hope you're all having a good day wherever you are in the world watching this, and you're safe. Restrictions are easing here a little bit, but I'm still being cautious. My husband and I have both had our vaccines now, and are feeling good, but I'm still being cautious. So I'm just going to take that out and just pop out a few of those stragglers. You want to make sure that all of these are popped out. I missed one on my last card, and so there was a blank space, and I had to strategically place my label. That's out of the way. I don't know if you can see that, but that is fabulous. Now that, as you can see, is a slightly odd size for our standard card bases. Now you could pop that on there. I've done that on a normal layer, and actually I've done it quite straight, so you could just pop that up, and I think that's just absolutely beautiful just as it is, with a simple sentiment. That would be lovely. But I'm going to use it as a stencil, as I said before, and I need another piece of card. There we go. Pop that down on there. Now you could hold it in place while you do it, but I don't want to risk it actually getting lost anywhere, moving anywhere. So I'm going to use some low tack tape just to tape it down, and I'm going to use a little spare bit save my grid paper. Just pop that down on there. Let's look. Let's tack that there. Husband's just taken the dog out for his afternoon walk, so hopefully I'll get a bit of peace and quiet to finish off my video. Mind you though, he's probably only going to take him around the corner, so, or around the block, so I better be quick, hadn't I? So there we are, that's taped in place, and then I'm going to use my 3 colours. That's the Evening Evergreen. Now that's a very dark colour. Let's just move those out of the way. We don't need those now for the minute. So I have got a green and I've got sort of a yellowy, a brush that I use for my yellows. I have got 2 sets. I've got 2 brand new ones. These are the blending brushes that we do, and they're just so soft. And these are clean. I know I've got to ink them up, and they wash out anyway. You don't need more than, you know, they come in a pack of 3. I've got 2 packs now, but I want to have one for each sort of colour family. So Pale Papaya, Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent. So I'm going to start, I'll do the 2 greens together, but I'm going to start with the Pale Papaya. And I'm just going to do it. I want to actually get it on the frame. Doesn't matter that I get it on the frame. I'm just going to add some colour. I'm going to do 3. You can do it as light and as dark as you want. A little bit up here as well. I've just ordered the re-inkers for these colours because I love them, and I'm sure I'm going to use them and need to re-ink my pads at some stage. So that, there we are, that's lovely. Now if you wanted to, you can wash that out, but what I tend to do is just clean it on a microfiber cloth and just then leave it to dry. So I'm going to start off, because I'm going to use the green with both greens, I'm going to start with the light one and then go to the dark, and that way I don't have to clean them in between. I'm just trying to concentrate on that little bit there, but you can see I've got the outside as well. And then I'm going to come in on that bit there. And I'm sort of going over. I don't want to muddy it too much, so I'm being a little bit careful. And then I think what I'll do is I'll do there. Now I only used the pale, I didn't use the Evening Evergreen on my last card. Oh, but that is gorgeous. That is so vibrant. I wasn't sure I was going to like these colours this year. I'm always the same, and then I get them. It's so hard to see from a magazine. But that is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really loving the dark and the lighter greens together. happy with that. I'm just going to, as you can see, wipe off some of that dark. I'm going to come in there we go, fabulous. So that should peel off, and I'm not worried about that because I'm actually going to do something a little bit different with that. But you can see you're left with, let me get that messy bit out of the way. I'm going to cut that down. Look at that. I think that's lovely. Very happy with that. Trim that down, and then you've got two bits for the price of one. So I'm going to trim this down. Let me just get my trimmer. Shut those before anything goes in. I should have done my stamping. So what I want to do is I should have another bit of white. There it is, another bit of white, and in the Evening Evergreen I'm going to do one of those and two of those. Now you could use a blender pen to do this, but I'm using my Wink of Stella, and I'm just going over those flowers with the Wink of Stella, and it's pulling out the ink, and as well as giving that a really lovely shimmer, it's making it two-tone. Once I've done all three, I will bring it up to the camera so that you can see. But that's a really lovely way of getting a two-tone stamped image. I suppose I ought to get my get the blender pen and do a blender pen one so that you can see the difference. But I really like using my Wink of Stella to do this. And now there are dies in the set that would die cut these out, but I'm just going to fussy cut them because I don't want the edges. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a brush off, make sure that there's none of that ink left on the nib. I don't know if you can see, there's some beautiful shine on that, and it just makes them two-tone. So that out of the way, let's get my trimmer. And get this trimmed down, so I'm just going to do that. That's, what did I say that was? That is 9.5 by 13.8. 13.8. So let's do 30. Oh. I cut that down the wrong way. Oh, I blooming well have. You absolute idiot, Lynnie. Never mind, we'll just make it shorter. What a plonker. Doesn't matter. Let's trim that there. So what have we got here? That's 13. Let's trim that to 13.5. There we go. And . that's 9.5. So so 9.5. Let's see. There we go. Phew. Everything's always salvageable, so that's beautiful. And what I'm going to do is, I thought I would use, now where's my, what did I do with my card base? There's my card base, and I want to use the soft succulent. Best clean off my stamp. And just do some tone on tone stamping, and you can see there I did one generation, second, third, 1, 2, there we go. There we go, all the way around, and then that's just a really nice little easy background on that back bit. Then out of the way, I'll quickly fussy cut these. Quickly. Sometimes when you do things quickly you make a cock up. But as I keep reminding myself and all my customers and friends who craft, nobody really knows what a card, a homemade card, is going to look like apart from you. So, and half the time it's fluid anyway, because you change your mind half the time. That I find the designing is the hardest thing, or takes the longest. Once you've got in your mind, sometimes you've got in your mind a design and you start it and you think, oh good God, no. And they evolve over time. I've just I had an order from a neighbour to make a 40th birthday card for her son-in-law, and we spoke about it in the street. And normally I have to write things down, my brain is like a sieve these days. And I got home and I started making this card after a bit of thought. She said he was a football fan, and I started making them, and I decided to put the logo of the football club on the card. I made it and I was really happy with it, and then my brain just got into a panic because I couldn't remember whether I'd got the right football club. Luckily I had, and she loves it. and she thinks he'll love it too, so that's always a bonus. Can you see how I'm moving the card in my left hand rather than, well, I'm not brilliant at fussy cutting, but you tend to move the card about rather than, you know, your hand. I know I do still move my hand a little bit, but I'm getting better. So that's all done, and I have, to save a little bit of time, let's shut that down, I heat embossed in white the sentiment from the set. Oh, don't lose my flowers. Show you how. Let's just bring in my little, I love my little mini cut and emboss machine. I always call it the wrong thing. It's a, what is it? It's sheet number 1, and then we need 2 cutting plates. So you can see I've been using it quite well. Really handy to have for little sentiments and such like. I've got the big one off to the side here. This is really handy. So it just works exactly the same as any other little die cutting machine. I should pop that on. Pop that round. And it's just so portable, which is brilliant. There we go. I love the dies. Inky fingers, look, I love the dies because they give this stitched little edge around there. And I'm going to layer up my flower. I'm also going to give them a little bit of zhuzh. We were saying, I think that's, there we go. Rather than it being a little bit of flat, give it a little bit of a little bit of shape, and then they can be layered up. Now let's start putting this together. Glue that down there. I believe I cocked it. I buggered up the cutting. See, I get nervous when I'm on camera. It's a bit silly, but there we go. There we go. Now I'm going to pop that on dimensionals, but I want to put some ribbon on, and I'm going to use this beautiful ribbon. I've got all of the new in colours. Look, they're gorgeous. But here are the 3 colours in our colour challenge, and I think I'm going to use the pale papaya. Now, shall I show you a trick? This is a trick that I'm not sure who came up with this, but using one of your blocks and keeping the ribbon still on the reel, I'm going to tie my bow, not very well because I'm on camera, I'm sure. There. Oh, use my ribbon scissors. There we go. Lovely. And then that comes off the block. I hope that was on camera. That comes off the block, and you work out whereabouts. So I'm going to do my bow the other side this time. So I want the bow this side of the card. So I'm going to cut there. And then that will go like that, and you've got a beautiful bow tied without having to, and you can just attach it on the back. Now this is probably, look, I haven't saved an awful lot of ribbon. It doesn't save you, but I find that's quite easy, quite nice and easy to tie a nice bow. I've got my tear and tape, because when it's on the card, the card can buckle and bend. I know everybody's a little bit different. I want to pull that through a little bit more. To pull that there. There we go. Trim that off. And then that can go on there with dimensionals. Now I've got quite a lot of dimensionals, but as I've said before, we don't want a saggy card, do we? So that's like that. Try and get it on straight without getting my head in the camera. Yes. And then I'm going to also pop that across there, but I'm going to pop that on dimensionals as well. But I'm going to use some mini dimensionals. And I'm going to use the edges and put one down the bottom there and one there. That's really pretty. And then for my flower, I'm going to dimensional my top layer, and I'm going to slightly, let's have a look. Slightly offset those. Slightly, but we're going to scrunch that top one up. Add that with some glue. Just, I think that's really small. Stick, stick, stick. And then, where are we going to do? I quite like that there. Oh, see, this is where I do actually like that across the bow. Is that going to be too much, do you think? Oh dear. Yes, it probably is. So I'm going to pop that down there. Let's stick with the plan, Lynn. There we go. So there's that, and then I've got this which will go onto another card, and I will share that, rather than do that now, I will share that on my social media so that you can see what I do with that, because I'm going to work out how to put a frame above it actually, because I think that's so pretty. Anyway, there we are. That is another version of that. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. It is free, and click the notification button so that you get notified. I do try and post every week. I missed last week, but I do try and post on a regular basis so that there's new content for you. And head over to my blog for all the details. Bye for now.